Hey, it's your buddy Peace and Harmony with you here today. We're focusing in on another viewer question that we got in, and that is related to being a caregiver for a covert narcissist and how to really let go of this role. She's been in this role for wow, over 25 years in her family, and she's never really had a chance to kind of break free, be her own person. She feels like she has just served, her life has just been that to serve her husband and serve her family, and that he just is very cold, callous, and doesn't really warm up to her or very open or appreciative of her. And he exhibits a lot of covert narcissist uh, personality traits. So realize too that I thought this was very interesting too, because really one of the hallmark covert narcissist traits is that oftentimes you feel like you have to take care of them. You feel almost like as if you have to be an indispensable caregiver. That they just fall short on a lot of things that they're not able to do for themselves. They're kind of like a fixer upper. They're kind of like, a rehab house. There's a lot of work that is required that you can do for them, and they sort of enlist your help in a number of different ways, especially as a spouse. So initially, this might have been a very attractive quality of them, that they're very, subtle, not very arrogant, just really sort of sleight of hand, very light touch, very easygoing, not always wanting to be in the spotlight. And so, you felt like, wow, here's this great guy, or, covert narcissists can also be females. Here's this great guy, he's just super adorable. He's accountable for, he's got a good job, and he'd be a great family guy. And so a lot of the qualities that you at first admired, which, attracted you, kept you there oftentimes for a long time with this sort of covert narcissist. But what ends up happening is that, as one is kind of overexerting themselves as a very indispensable, irreplaceable caregiver for this person, you feel kind of, trauma bonded to this individual, because you feel that there's something, because of they're so quiet, and because they're so aloof, and because they seem to carry this superior sense about them, that they're very difficult to leave, because you have this conflicting message. Here's this superior and mighty, very maybe suave or debonair sort of gentleman, and just very stoic, or a unique guy in this way, and this kind of has this very superior demeanor about him. Yet yet I'm not really getting what I need in return. I'm not getting the communication. I'm not getting the credibility where credibility is due. I'm not getting the affection. I'm not getting the verbal affection. I'm not getting the physical affection. I'm here, doing, double and triple somersaults forward, trying to take care of him and then the family, and I end up taking the helm. And so you feel like it's just, it's gone for quite some time, but yet it can be really exhausting and empty when you have done all this, and at the end of the day, you're sitting back and it's just like, well, what do I have? I've just extended myself to this gentleman, and to my family, and he might have been there kind of in the background, and it very much feels like he's in the background. And now you're like, okay, where, how are we meeting in the middle here? There seems to be this real void, a real gulf, and it becomes a very deep gulf. So it's not just like a nice, peaceful silence of contentment and fulfillment. It can be kind of a feeling of coldness and distance, and very uncomfortable. And of course, the covert narcissist, who feels that they have, of course, done nothing wrong, they have generally oftentimes very little to say for themselves. And when you try to bring up this to them, it's not open for discussion. There's just no emotional repertoire there. There's not a discussion of feelings. They might just make excuses. I don't know what you're talking about, or yeah, yeah, yeah. And that's all you get is about a yeah, yeah, yeah. And so, in terms of that connection, it's very important to realize not only your strength, and to realize that, you had often, projected oftentimes a lot of your goodness onto this individual to help fill up that emptiness that the covert narcissist has within. Because, that is part of the issue, is that, they have a certain kind of exterior shell, which is it's just almost like a real shell, especially with a covert narcissist. It's not just like a flamboyant shell, with a mask, but it's just almost like a very thick shell. I mean, it's just you just don't get any of that inner person. You just don't get to connect with that inner person. You don't get a chance to really know who they are, because I think, and that's what's so sad. I think that what hurts is that you never really get to know who that covert narcissist is, and yet you might have been married to them for 20 or 30 years, and then here you feel like here's this almost stranger, who you've been married to, and you're just kind of like, it just feels that way, I think, is the way it's felt. And that's very sad, because if you're not communicating from your inner being, and I know that this is like deep stuff, but it's just like from your authentic self, from your identity, if you're living a lie, you never really get to know that person. And it's very, very much that way with a psychopathic individual who is all mask. I mean, they have no conscience, so they oftentimes commit grave acts of injustice against people. And then you definitely see that you don't know this person. But I think especially with the covert narcissist, is that feeling like, I just don't know who this person is, or we just don't have anything in common. And I think that is oftentimes what is very sad. And so you can try, until the cows come home, to try to get to know this person, and go to therapy, and etc., and go to your church and get pastoral counseling and things of that nature. But generally, the covert narcissist is generally not apt to really flex and change. If they do, it might be for a short period of time. But usually it's very rigid in their personality disorder. So in terms of moving forward, realize that you're on the journey to get to know yourself, your interests, putting those front and center, and realizing that what you want and what you need and what you want to explore, expand upon, your vision for the future is what is so important now. Remember that oftentimes we become our vision that we have for ourselves. So that mental rehearsal of your vision for the future, things that we talk about in the recovery journal, writing it out, reviewing it, keeping it posted in front of you. That mental rehearsal creates a mental image or a vision for your life. And so you have to have a vision for your life in order for it to come about. So if you are to rehearse it, even if it's difficult right now, to see yourself, doing things that are of interest to you, feeling happiness, even though I'm on my own, feeling happiness flood my body, feeling happiness flood my being, feel happiness flood my thoughts. And I'm going to envision myself, and I'm going to give myself mental rehearsal, and do this again and again. Your life will then begin to change in that direction. That's just how it is. And I know a lot of viewers say, well, I'm not good at affirmations. I just feel like I'm not good at that. Well, some people do have this as more of an ease for their vision of their life, and some just don't have that ability, or they haven't worked on it. So if you have not worked on it, do whatever methodology is effective for you. So if cooking kind of gets it going for you, if reading, if writing, if painting, if walking, if taking a bath, if experimenting with different decorations in your house and moving things around helps you think and helps get your thoughts going, then use whatever means and method is effective for you so you can start to loosen that up and get a more positive vision for your life and your future, so you can then get to know you and then get to know other people who would also like to get to know you, and then share in that community that is really the heart of what you're looking for in that fulfillment, so things don't feel so empty and so lost. Peace and harmony with you here today. I hope these videos do help. Please share and please subscribe for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support.